Hey guys, Aaron CybertronVGC here, and today I am back for some more competitive double battles in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. In this video, I'll be utilizing a team centered around Meowscarada, one of the final evolutions of the brand new starters here in Generation 9. Meowscarada is awesome for a couple of different reasons. First of all, it's got really great base speed, and so you're able to naturally outspeed a lot of Pokemon that you're going to run into the format. Second of all, it gets access to Protean as its ability, allowing it to change its typing. And third of all, it's got access to some great moves, including Knockoff, which it gets the same type attack bonus from, as well as its signature move Flower Trick, which always guarantees a critical hit and avoids accuracy checks as well. And so Flower Trick is really nice specifically into a lot of the Grimmsnarl-oriented strategies that you're going to run into, as well as a lot of the Water-type Pokemon that you may see in the format. And so, yeah, excited to try out this team. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps in the description below. Thank you so much as always for watching. It has been so fun to do these battles, and I can just really feel all the hype for Gen 9. So once again, thank you for watching. If you enjoy, please share your support by leaving a like. It really helps me and the channel out a lot. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Aaron, and I do competitive doubles / VGC battles and content all the time. So if that's something you're interested in, it would mean a lot if you'd consider subscribing. But let's talk about this team. First of all, a huge thank you to Stefano for building and sharing this team. I've linked his Twitter down in the description below, as well as a rental code and a paste if you want to try out the team yourself. The first Pokemon to talk about on this team, of course, has to be Meowscarada. I already talked a little bit about it in the introduction, but to expand on it, basically, this Pokemon has a lot of nice early game potential where you can just use Knockoff to remove items or U-turn out, especially boosted by that Protean. And then it also has a lot of late game potential where you can just put it in a position to sweep, especially if you conserve that Grass Terra as well. And so one of the things I want to talk about first is Protean, because this ability actually did get nerfed going into this generation. And so as you can see, Protean only activates once per switch in, and it also will not activate if you are already Terra'd. So this is still something I'm getting used to, especially after using Protean in previous generations. But the nice thing is that the Meowscarada on this team really likes using U-turn, and so as a result, Protean, since it activates every time you're coming in, you don't have to worry as much about it. But keep that in mind for like endgame situations where you can only change your type to one of the types, right? And so just something to think about. But overall, yeah, standard spread here, just max speed, max attack. And even though this Pokemon doesn't have that much bulk, like you're often able to pivot out, take it away from danger, and then bring it out in the late game ideally where it can just KO things before they even have the chance to hit you. You also have Knockoff, and same type attack boosted Knockoffs are just really nice, especially because the ability to remove items, especially from bulky Pokemon, can be awesome. And the item choice here is Clear Amulet, which prevents stat drops, and namely Intimidate. I think you could easily consider something like Life Orb or Choice Band on a set like this as well, especially because Flower Trick is always guaranteed to land in a critical hit, and so you can just further increase the damage of that with Life Orb or Band, but a lot of item choices I think are viable here. Meowscarada is really nicely supported by Talonflame here. This is a Covert Cloak Talonflame, so this is one of the new items, and it prevents secondary effects from attacks, and so it's really nice in avoiding flinches from Fake Out, for example. And so Talonflame Meowscarada is often a lead that I like, where I can just Tailwind and then U-turn out immediately, chip something, bring out Annihilate, Rotom, or Sylveon, which are all bulkier, and then deal massive amounts of damage in the next couple of turns under Tailwind, then bring Meowscarada back out, and then try to sweep with it in the endgame ideally. Talonflame here notably has max HP rather than attack, and I actually really like the idea here because I think unless you're benchmarking for a specific knockout, by going for max HP, this often ensures that Talonflame can survive, and if it's able to survive a big attack, then it can retaliate back with a Will-O-Wisp in the subsequent turn, and there are just so many physical Pokemon that people enjoy using in this format, so yeah, having that potential I think is really nice. So I talked about the Tailwind stuff. Here's some Pokemon that can capitalize off it. The first one is Life Orb Annihilate. We featured the Choice Scarf Final Gambit Annihilate set earlier, but I think one of the cool things about this Pokemon is that there are a lot of different ways you can run it. And so the idea here is that with Tailwind support and Jolly and this speed investment, you're outspeeding everything that doesn't have a speed boost or a Choice Scarf when you set up that Tailwind. Talonflame and Annihilate is also a fairly effective lead with this team because they're both immune to Fake Out, so you can just go for Tailwind plus a big attack immediately with this. Annihilate's also, got a lot of great HP here, and it's a great Pokemon to potentially switch into, especially thanks to Rage Fist, which its power increases by 50 each time the user is hit. And so you've got just general really good coverage here. So we talked about Talonflame, Annihilate, Meowscarada. To round out the team, you've got Rotom-Wash here. This is a Nasty Plot set, but it does actually have Volt Switch as well. So keep that in mind. You might be able to get multiple Nasty Plots off, but if you Volt Switch, you obviously will give up those boosts. I think the Nasty Plot is more handy for Hydro Pump or endgame situations, but I've had scenarios where I get a Nasty Plot up, get a +2 Volt Switch off into like a Water-type Pokemon, and just do a lot of free damage. The Rotom here is just really bulky with max HP plus Ogloff Berry, and then you've got screen support from Grimmsnarl as well, so often it is just going to be able to set up a Nasty Plot and then deal some pretty good damage afterwards. Finally, we've got Sylveon plus Grimmsnarl here. The Sylveon here is a really bulky set with Throat Spray, and the idea here is that, yeah, you just distribute a lot of damage with your Hyper Voice. Quick Attack to really chip things off, and Yawn here just for really good disruption. I think with Yawn, this slot is often pretty flexible. I've seen players run like Terra Blast, for example, but I think on a team that has a lot of bulk here, Sylveon makes a lot of sense. This thing is, you know, just fairly effective overall by distributing damage, and Yawn is just really nice in disrupting like setup-oriented strategies, for example. Final Pokemon to talk about is Grimmsnarl. This is dual screens with Spirit Break and Trick with Lagging Tail. Trick and Lagging Tail was really common throughout Sword and Shield because it was really nice in dealing with Dynamax Pokemon. Dynamax isn't a thing anymore, but Trick plus Lagging Tail can still be valuable into like Trick Room-oriented teams, for example, where you can trick away a Choice Specs from Torkoal, give them Lagging Tail, then they're moving last after the turn that you use Lagging Tail. The one thing to note about this strategy is that if you trick Lagging Tail, that Pokemon does not immediately move last in its priority bracket. The speeds will still operate as normal. It would only become relevant in the subsequent turn, so keep that in mind. But generally, I really like leading Talonflame with one of the attackers or Grimmsnarl with one of the attackers and then just go from there. Talonflame can really set up for Tailwind sweeps with this team. So that's enough about the team. Let's get into the battles. Okay, so we have a Hail plus Dondozo. I think I was calling it Dodonzo the last couple of days. Dondozo plus Tatsuguri team. We've played against this before, so it's probably a rental running around right now. Talonflame can easily set up Tailwind for us. Meowscarada has U-turn. And then the grass type attacks are obviously fairly good as well. Grimmsnarl can help me set up screens. I can get Lagging Tail into Dondozo. Probably want Rotom. I mean, Annihilap's pretty interesting here, no? All of our Pokemon are decent, truthfully. I think I'm going to go with Talonflame, Sylveon lead, Meowscarada in the back, and then Annihilate or Rotom is the final one. Like, I lean towards Rotom just because of its matchup against Dondozo. Okay. So, what are we aiming to accomplish here? With Talonflame, set up Tailwind, enable the rest of my team to just deal massive amounts of damage. We have a good amount of super effective coverage onto their side, so that's good. Gotta think a little bit about who I want to potentially Terra in this battle. They're gonna go with the Bombstones to Titan. Okay. So, I could just launch Tailwind immediately from Talonflame. Snow is up now. Tailwind. The defense boost doesn't really help them right now with the Sylveon. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm okay going for Tailwind here into a Hyper Voice this turn. Get my Throat Spray activated. Okay, so we're gonna get the speed boost. We're gonna go for Liquidation here, but we survive. Nice. Probably gonna be just a Blizzard from Abomasnow, though, if I had to guess. But then the thing is, now I can switch into Meowscarada, which is pretty cool. Yep. So just hopefully no freeze here on Sylveon. Talonflame faints. Okay, cool. Oh, what's the item here? Leftovers? Okay. That's cool. Yeah, so we can bring out Meowscarada, and I think what I want to do here is U-turn into the Abomasnow. They do get the defense boost. I don't know if it'll KO, but with Protean, I'm hoping it's enough, and then we get a single target Hyper Voice as a result into Titan. Okay, cool. They're not going to go for Protect, so here's Protean, transform into Bug-type. Beautiful. That one-shots Abomasnow. Hyper Voice now becomes single target as well into Titan. So we're going to be able to pivot out. And bring out Rotom. Rotom's pretty solid in this endgame. Sylveon support's also good. They're going to go for Ice Spinner here. Okay. Does a lot of damage, but doesn't KO us. We get a single target plus one Hyper Voice now, and that's enough for a KO with the critical hit. I'm not sure the crit actually mattered there, since the last Hyper Voice did around 40%. We had the Throat Spray boost and it being single target. But if they survived, I would have just gone for Quick Attack to pick up the KO the subsequent turn, most likely. So there's Dondozo. And it's just Tatsuguri. Okay. Yep. So it's going to eat it up. But that's why I brought the Rotom. And then we have Meowscarada in the back as well. So I honestly don't care about the fact that it ate it up right now. Okay. Get your boosts. Yep. I think Rotom also walls this decently. And we still have 2 turns of Tailwind, which is sweet. Just pure water. So, like, I'm gonna just nasty plot here, honestly, and then go for a Yawn onto the Dondozo. Because right now, Dondozo probably feels threatened and wants to target Rotom. They are Terraing here, so I'm curious what kind of Terra it's gonna be. But you can't cover for both of my Pokemon, and it looks like it's just Terra Water. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Terra Water. Rotom's actually just faster still under Tailwind, which is pretty sweet. Maybe I should have just gone for Thunderbolt then instead. Well, I'm outspeeding it, but yeah, both of my Pokemon actually outspeed it, which is excellent thanks to the early Tailwind. Dondozo's drowsy now. They're going to go for Liquidation. I'm not sure what abilities everyone's running on Dondozo yet, because it could be... like, a bunch of the abilities that they can have are actually pretty good against what I just did. So I'm going to Volt Switch into Dondozo now and just Hyper Voice. Yeah, I mean, like, they're just in a ton of trouble right now, right? We actually just get the KO here. Cool. Nope, that was a crit. Didn't really need it with Meowscarada in the back, I think, but... now we can pivot that in. And Hyper Voice should just finish them off. Yep. And then Meowscarada now can finish off Tatsuguri. Dondozo actually survives, which is pretty impressive. So they are going to get a +2 Liquidation off here into Meowscarada, but that is not enough for a KO. And now you fall asleep. Excellent. Yeah, so, I mean, if the crit didn't happen, I would have just targeted Dondozo a little bit more with Meowscarada, but now I can just, like, Flower Trick, Tatsuguri, and then just Quick Attack into Dondozo. Okay, so Dondozo faints, Tatsuguri comes back out. It was interesting, we didn't even need to Terra in this game in the end, but yeah, the early Talonflame was really nice, and Meowscarada, like, being able to outspeed things and just have a lot of good coverage into my opponent's team was awesome here. So, got the knockout earlier, now we're going to go for the Flower Trick, and that always gets a crit there. Just fall short of the KO, but we'll just go for it again here. I actually am curious if Quick Attack finishes off Tatsuguri. Let's see. It does. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think ultimately, like, the Titan was scary. It just didn't really do enough damage. The fact that Talonflame survived the Liquidation, and then the, so Talonflame survived, and then the Sylveon survived the Ice Spinner as well. Just put us into a really good position, but yeah. So I wanted to pull up Dondozo's page here just because I fought against a bunch, but I feel like I still don't fully know it. And so, yeah, it has Unaware as one of its abilities, which would have been relevant against Rotom because it ignores foe stats modifications. It also gets access to Oblivious, which I think is the one that I've seen the majority of players use, which prevents it from being attracted, intimidated, or taunted. Intimidates the big one here. And then Water Veil, which prevents it from being burnt, which I think is fairly valuable as well, because if you look at its stats down here, it's, you know, base 100 attack, base 65 special attack. So most people are using, you know, Physico Dondozo. So yeah, ultimately, I don't know, maybe I could have considered Volt Switching instead, but I don't mind nasty plotting there because if you're not unaware, then I just punish you super heavily. And in that endgame, it was essentially 3v1. One of the things I just don't like about Dondozo is that if the Tatsuguri remains in Dondozo, like, you're just stuck on the field with one Pokemon, making it fairly easy to target. They didn't really have too much counterplay to the Yawn that I had launched into that slot either. So yeah, that was a fun game where I feel like all the Pokemon put in a good amount of weight. Okay, we got a familiar looking team here. This is actually the Garganacl team I just featured. I actually think, like, Meowscarada is so good into that entire team, because that team does have a pretty major grass type weakness. The main thing to watch out for is Houndstone being able to burn us with Will-O-Wisp. But Talonflame can just set up Tailwind. We can Trick Lagging Tail as well. I don't know really how valuable that is, though. Could just be Tyranitar Houndstone lead. Rotom's kind of walled by Gastrodon, so Meowscarada is amazing here. I think it's just about when I can get it out properly. I don't hate a Talonflame plus Sylveon lead. Actually, Talonflame Annihilate is pretty cool here, no? It's mainly just the Tyranitar with, you know, Rock Slide. That's, like, kind of annoying. Okay, you know what? I'm down for Sylveon. Talonflame, Sylveon, Meowscarada, and then Annihilate and Rotom are both solid here. I think Annihilate might be a little bit better. Rotom, if they turn into Grass Terra with Garganacl, puts me in a really tough position. So, yeah, I'll go with the Nihilip. Also, it's just a new Pokemon. I want to try it out. Whereas, we've used Rotom for many, many, many years. Although this one doesn't have Will-O-Wisp. But we can still miss Hydro Pump. Anyway, let's see. I think this is actually probably the perfect game for Meowscarada, because it's like a bulky team where we can just crit through everything. We're just going to go with Grimmsnarl and Garganacl immediately. Okay. So, as a reminder, I cannot burn the Garganacl. I'm honestly down to just target around it. Like, turn 1, just Flare Blitz and Hyper Voice. And essentially, like, in the end, just save Meowscarada. What's interesting is, I mean, if they end up going for Terra Grass, Meowscarada can at least U-turn. But then, yeah, the crits for Meowscarada aren't really as valuable. Terra Grass is huge here, right? It's what makes the Garganacl a lot more viable, I think. So I can't burn it, nor can I put it to sleep, which is fairly annoying. Its ability is just so good. But they're actually going to hard switch out immediately. Okay, I'm totally okay with that. Into Houndstone. So, I mean, turn 1 should just be a KO and some free damage, right? So, yeah, they set up Light Screen. That's fine. Maybe we miss out on the knockout. I could have considered Tailwinding there as well, by the way. But there's Flare Blitz. I can probably Quick Attack to finish off the Grimmsnarl. Actually, them surviving here would be better for me. Yeah. Although I don't think Quick Attack actually gets the KO, to be honest. But maybe I don't need it to. They're probably just going to set up their other screens now. Yeah. I think I'm fairly content to just Tailwind here, honestly, in Hyper Voice. Yeah, sure. Okay, they're going to go for Parting Shot onto us. That would allow you to bring out Tyranitar, but you could also bring Houndstone back in. Could I consider Quick Attack then to cover for the Parting Shot, and then have my special attack boost still intact? Meowscarada's really just waiting to come out right now. Garganacl's going to be the one switching in, sure. Get Tailwind up. Okay. And Sylveon outspeeds, gets the Hyper Voice, a little bit more chip damage on a Houndstone. Houndstone's going to keep the Snarl. So now you would think Garganacl's probably going to start Iron Defensing, right? I can take advantage of them clicking Snarl and get a Rage Fist activation here. So I'm actually down to double switch this turn, I think. Because it would make sense for them to just click Snarl and Iron Defense. So I want to switch into Meowscarada on this slot and then Annihilate on this slot. Okay. Well, like, my other question is with the Garganacl, do they end up just committing the Grass Terra earlier on? Beautiful, they Snarl. These are the two perfect Pokemon to switch into that. Okay. That actually also activates Defiant. Wait, Annihilate is going to go crazy here now, isn't it? I'm at +1 attack, and I've got the Ghost attack. Or sorry, +2 attack, yeah. I mean, we can knock off Houndstone here. The thing is, we are Ghost, so Body Press doesn't even affect us. Like, Annihilate is so well positioned right now. So I'm actually down to just close combat knockoff. And Garganacl switches out. Probably Tyranitar? Oh, it's actually Gastrodon. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now we get Protean knockoff. That'll just KO here. I mean, this should just be game over, honestly. As soon as the Annihilate switched in, like, we got the perfect position. We did get a crit there. Maybe that mattered. Stone Citrus Berry is removed, but I don't know. Same type attack bonus boosted. Close combat there just gets the one hit KO on a Gastrodon. Beautiful. I'm glad we could have a game to really demonstrate Meowscarada and Annihilate, but, you know, I obviously have an advantage here because I just featured the team that my opponent is using. And honestly, that team is fairly weak to both of these Pokemon. Like, don't even... Putting myself in my opponent's shoes, I'm not even sure what you could really do. Like, Meowscarada in itself is just such a problem. And it's hard for Garganacl to really get boosted up here because you have so many threats. I probably would have gone Tyranitar Houndstone. Like, try to at least put on some pressure with Tyranitar damage-wise, but yeah, it's hard. I'm just gonna Flower Trick Grimmsnarl now, close combat into Garganacl. I'm probably gonna double up onto Garganacl, to be honest, because it's not like Grimmsnarl's really a problem for me at this point, but we already have a big enough lead where I think we're fine. Yep, there's the Terra. Turning into grass, presumably, so that you are not affected as much by my Flower Trick. And that's fine. The main thing is by switching out earlier, they just got rid of their boosts, right? And so... yeah, Grimmsnarl sets up Reflect here. Meowscarada doesn't really care about that, though. It's just going to crit through with Flower Trick anyway. Nice. Now I do have to fight against this grass Garganacl, though. But given that they activated my Defiant earlier, close combat here. Almost KOs. Cool. Yeah, U-turn close combat will finish them off, surely, even if they recover here. And if they Iron Defense, we should get the KO as well. Good recover, though. Nicely done. Okay. Tailwind Peters out. Yeah, let's just U-turn here. And then close combat. Super effective, Protean. Cool. And now, because you are grass type, I also am able to deal increased damage with Talonflame's Flare Blitz. Which is excellent. And Annihilate gets the close combat off. And that's enough for Garganacl. Beautiful. Yeah, this is just a really tough team for that team to go up against, because, like, one, it just doesn't have super good grass coverage, and then Meowscarada in particular being able to crit through Reflect consistently is a really big deal. And then, yeah, Annihilate just being able to eat up the Snarl and then immediately get an attack boost is super strong. Defiant is just an incredible ability, and this Pokemon is absolutely nuts as well in terms of damage output, as it just got the one-hit KO on a Gastrodon. So, yeah, I mean, really happy to feature what some of these brand new Pokemon can do, and I'd say both Meowscarada and Annihilate were really, really important towards winning that battle. So, let's keep things going. I feel like we're just running through the gauntlet of teams that we featured, which is fun. So, this one is the Dragapult, Paradox Delibird, Paradox, Jigglypuff, Annihilate, Sylveon, Torkoal team. I've got priority Tailwind, but the problem is that the Paradox Delibird is just going to get an immediate speed boost. Lagging Tail here could actually be really helpful, as well as screens. I actually really like Grimmsnarl in this one, I think. Grimmsnarl, what if I led Grimmsnarl, Meowscarada? Rotom's decent, especially against Torkoal. I kind of want to, like, close out the game with Meowscarada after chipping away at everything, ideally. So, I think I'm going to try Grimmsnarl Sylveon with Rotom and then Meowscarada in the back. I think Annihilate's pretty solid here as well, by the way, but I'm not going to bring it. Talonflame here could be interesting, but the problem is the Delibird plus the Dragapult combination. Delibird gets a speed boost immediately. I just don't really want to deal with that. So let's see. Our general goal here is to disrupt with the Trick plus Lagging Tail combination. They're actually going to go with Sylveon and the... okay. So we both have our Sylveons out. That's interesting. They could have Trick Room. I mean, I'm fine. Oh, you know what? This actually does have Psychic Fang, so it breaks through screens. Which is fairly annoying. I ideally want to conserve my... I mean, I can Light Screen this turn. Like, are they really going to Psychic Fangs into Hyper Voice? Could be the case. That'd actually be a really sick play. Honestly, I'm down to just Spirit Break here and Hyper Voice turn 1. See if we can maybe KO Sylveon. I'm mainly curious if they're going to try to go with the Trick Room angle here. I think this is a great lead, by the way. It's really good into what I brought, in my opinion, because you pressure with Psychic Fangs to just break through screens. Your Sylveon pressures as well here. I was hoping to see like Dragapult Delibird, which would have been fairly weak into the dual fairies, I think, because I would have been able to just set up like a Reflect or a Light Screen and then Hyper Voice. So, okay, they go for Helping Hand. Nice play. And they are just going to be faster, but both Pokemon survive here, which is huge. So I'm hoping I KO the opposing Sylveon. Great bulk from Grimmsnarl to allow us to survive. There aren't really that many protects on the opposing side. Oh, that did very little damage. Yeah, Spirit Break's definitely... This double up's definitely not going to KO. I feel like I'm used to Choice Spec Sylveon from VGC 2015. So, my sense of damage calcs are completely warped. I mean, they could just Helping Hand Hyper Voice again. I should Light Screen here then to try to survive in Hyper Voice. But they could, like, now go for Psychic Fangs, and I don't get my trick off with Grimmsnarl, unfortunately. But maybe that's okay. So far, they're not really playing, like, towards Trick Room, which I'll gladly take. Okay, they go for Quick Attack. I don't mind that, because, like, they would have been able to break through my screens with Psychic Fang anyway. And they are trying to set up Trick Room now. Interesting. Okay. Trick Room goes up. This is, no pun intended, fairly tricky for me. Like, I can just pick up a double knockout here, so I at least avoid the Choice Specs Helping Hand Eruptions. Right, because I can just Volt Switch here. Oh, that might even survive Hyper Voice plus Volt Switch, to be honest. Yeah, this is not good. Torkoal's just waiting to come in now. I really like their lead. I think finding that lead was a great job by them. Because I don't really have too much to threaten Sylveon, right? We don't have... Like, Talonflame's the only resistance. Yeah. Really, really well done. I'm just trying to figure out how I can beat Torkoal in the back. Okay, you know what? I'm going to Protect and go for Yawn. And the idea is to just, like, not let them get Torkoal in for free. I feel like that's the only path I can take to win right now. Yeah, the Quick Attack. Sure. So the idea here is just, like, stalling out Trick Room while denying them free switch-ins. Psychic Fangs into Rotom. Now what I can go for is Nasty Plot. Question is whether or not I want to Hyper Voice here. I also don't necessarily need a Nasty Plot. For example, I can Volt Switch here if I think this is going to switch out. I am down, I think, to Volt Switch and Hyper Voice here. Actually, I'd prefer to Hydro Pump. If they switch in Torkoal, I could punish it so heavily. But they do just stay in. Okay, good play. They'll eat up their berry here, so maybe we don't KO with Hydro Pump, which would actually work in my favor because it would prevent free switch-ins, in my opinion. Okay, they Psychic Fangs me. I actually miss Hydro Pump. Yeah, that's fine. Kind of spoke that into existence. Just worried about how I'm beating Torkoal in the endgame, because Meowscarada is not exactly super good into it, so I essentially need Rotom's Hydro Pump. I don't really have a good Terra right now on anything. Meowscarada probably just wasn't the right Pokemon to bring in the back here. But I think, yeah, I had never really led Sylveon plus Screamtail or Jigglypuff with that team, and I think my opponent found a really, really good situation for it. Okay, so just double checking the field state. There's 2 turns of Trick Room left, so... I mean, I think we can just double protect this turn. I'm just worried then that the Screamtail gets an early wake up. And then, because if they do, and then they have Helping Hand Specs Eruption, I'm kind of just done for. But basically what I'm hoping is that Rotom can survive a Helping Hand, or not a Helping Hand, Terra Specs Eruption. It KOs Sylveon, we heal back up, and then Meowscarada plus Rotom can close out the game for me, potentially. But a quick wake up here would also just be my demise. Also, it's interesting, they did not go for a Terra there. Huh. I could have maybe capitalized off that. Yeah, interesting. Stay asleep, yep. Okay, well, I am going to go for Hydro Pump here. I actually think this might be a time to go for a double protect. I mean, Eruption's definitely KOing me. Alternatively, I could quick attack for the smallest amount of chip damage. Torkoal's defense is pretty high. I'm down to go for the double protect because I don't think I have anything to lose, even if I don't get it. And if I do get it, great. I stalled another turn of Trick Room with Sylveon, right? But yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go for Fire Terra last turn, because unless they were confident they were going to KO Rotom, they're not going to go for it again. Interesting. Okay, Sylveon fails the double protect. They're going to get Eruption off. I honestly expect Rotom to survive this. Yeah. I think I would have just lost this immediately if they went for Terra. They're not trying to Helping Hand with the Paradox Jigglypuff either, which I am surprised about. Because Psychic Fangs I just don't think is as worth it as your other options here. So this actually gives me a window of winning the game now. But yeah, I think they should have just gone for Terra there. Hydro Pump does connect. Cool. Wow, that's really not much damage though. Trick Room expires. We know your Specs Eruption. I bring out Meowscarada. 3 turns of Sunlight. No boosts. Your Fire. I think here I'm just going to go for a Volt Switch. And Knockoff. I know that you are Fire, Terra with choice specs. And so even if Torkoal survives, that's okay. Because you're locked into Eruption. You can't get out of that. But yeah, I think maybe my opponent was just confident they would KO Rotom, but Fire Terra, that would have increased their damage output and essentially KO'd Rotom. Okay, so they're not going to switch out, which makes sense. One play you could go for here is actually switch Torkoal out and then try to Trick Room and then bring it back in and just end the game with Heat Waves. See if that stays asleep. Okay, it does manage to wake up. What are we going for here? Psychic Fangs onto Rotom. Okay. Well, let's see what the final Pokemon is. Psychic Fangs is doing 39 damage, so we should expect to survive another one. That's going to be Delibird. Yeah, I mean, this is a really good matchup against both of my Pokemon offensively here, so it's not looking great. I do wish I Nasty Plotted a little bit earlier, I think. I don't really know who to Terra here. If I Terra you, I do lose my Ice typing or Water typing, so then does Freeze Dry actually KO me? I would expect to survive, so honestly, I think I want to Terra into just pure Electric, not get KO'd by Freeze Dry ideally, KO this, and go for a Protect. The alternative is like hoping Meowscarada survive. Actually, Meowscarada probably does survive if Freeze Dry. I think I'd rather Protect here, Terra, and Flower Trick into you. There's no way a Freeze Dry KOs Meowscarada, right? I believe in it. I think it's clutch. And then if we KO there, then we just win. Oh, but there's Helping Hand support. Maybe, yeah, I would expect Helping Hand Freeze Dry to KO. I mean, I have to call this turn correctly on who the Paradox Delibird's targeting. Actually, is there a world in which I win just by attacking with both Pokemon? Maybe. But they didn't go for Helping Hand, they just Freeze Dry. That is enough for a one-hit KO. Oh, wow. Okay. My intuition was right then. Attacking with Rotom there would have been the move. And they Psychic Fangs. Yeah, I was honestly expecting to survive that, but since they had Helping Hand support anyway, it's not something I can bank off of. But, yeah. Okay. GG. Very nicely played. I like how they led the Sylveon plus the Screamtail. And then the late game Delibird, I think, was a really great choice as well. So, yeah. I think they executed that team super, super well. And in the end, it was like, yeah, if I stuck to the Rotom prediction, we maybe could have... Because I assume we would have been able to just KO the Delibird. We would have survived Psychic Fangs with a sliver of HP as well. And then it's a 2v1 against the Jigglypuff. And then Meowscarada can just, you know, go for Flower Trick and KO it. So that was really close. But in the end, it was just kind of can I get the target selection right? And I picked Meowscarada there in the end because I thought I had a better chance of surviving. Like, I wasn't even confident. I guess it's less about surviving and more about just predicting who they're going to target and which slot they're going to target there. So, yeah. But in the end, I think the other thing to consider was, yeah, could I have actually just gone for Volt Switch plus the Terra Grass there? But I don't know if Volt Switch KOs the Paradox Delibird, because if not, then that play definitely doesn't work out. But, yeah. The way to win that would have been going for what I was thinking of initially, which was Terra, Rotom, Electric into the Delibird, KO that, and then it's a 2v1 against Screamtail. Okay, this is a cool team. Mainly new Pokemon. Talonflame, they've got their own Meowscarada. The Dondozo. Baxcalibur. So what do we want to do? I think Rotom's generally good here. Like, I'm down for something... Oh, actually, why not Sylveon? Talonflame Sylveon as a lead feels decently good. With Rotom and Meowscarada in the back. I feel like I should probably bring Annihilate. But I think we can get away with the 4 that we're bringing here. Yeah, I guess the main question is how valuable is Meowscarada for me here? I feel like it can be really good, but... depends on the Pokemon. Like, against Dondozo, that's really solid. It's going to be Kingambit and Dondozo. Okay. Well, also Kingambit just is such a cool Pokemon. First thing is, I don't know the ability of this. But I think I'm down to go for a Will-O-Wisp onto Kingambit and then just Hyper Voice turn 1. I don't necessarily need the speed boost here immediately. So we don't miss Will-O-Wisp, which is sweet. Okay. So that's going to get the burn. Yeah, already just faster anyway. Great damage from Hyper Voice. That's going to activate Throat Spray. They're going to go for Wave Crash. Okay. Sure. It is enough to pick up the one-hit KO. That's okay, though. We have the speed advantage right now, and I've got the burn onto you, and this is just a free switch-in into Meowscarada now. Just Iron Head. Cool, that is less than half. Now I have the special attack boost on the Sylveon as well, so I feel pretty good just going to Meowscarada here, honestly, and just going for double attacks right now. I think the main thing we want to consider is who can they switch into. They could switch into their own Talonflame and their own Meowscarada. It's probably better than to actually click Knockoff for that reason. But if I Flower Trick here, Hyper Voice becomes single target onto Kingambit. Yeah, I'm just gonna get a KO here. I am worried about them having Talonflame plus, like, their own Meowscarada in the back, because then they can Tailwind or Brave Bird into my Meowscarada, and then their Meowscarada could just go for Flower Trick onto mine. This could have been an interesting debate to actually leave the Kingambit around on the field, so that it doesn't just, like, it's a Pokemon that's not doing very much, right? And I didn't set up Tailwind, so now they get 2 free switch-in. So if it is Talonflame plus Meowscarada in the back, that could actually be some trouble for me. There's Meowscarada, okay. The Talonflame. It's Arm Rouge. I am down to U-turn here, I think. We've got Rotom in the back, so if we KO Meowscarada, that's huge. How does Terra with Meowscarada Protean work? I actually am not sure. Like, my assumption is... Well, we're already Grass right now, so I guess it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, because Protean just changes us to a single type, right? Okay, then I'm going to U-turn here and Yawn, I think. Oh, nice. We just outspeed. And that's a 1-hit KO. Beautiful. Nice. That should be game over now with the Rotom in the back. Meowscarada is really interesting, because, like, Flower Trick is super nice against Grimmsnarl-oriented teams, which we were able to demonstrate early on in this video. U-turn is incredible for pivoting in and out, and then Knockoff is just consistent damage across the board. That is such a cool animation, but Rotom takes that like a champ. Defense falls. Special defense falls. We get Yawn off into that slot. Cool. Now we can just Hydro Pump. And Hyper Voice. Yeah, they end up forfeiting. I mean, Meowscarada was able to body the opposing Meowscarada, so I'm fairly happy about that. But ultimately, I think for this game, it was kind of just, you know, early pressure. And King Gambit, just once it was burnt, wasn't really that scary. And the Dondozo, like, just took so much damage. And in the end, so, like, Sylveon can be a beast, right? Because, like, a lot of the Pokemon that threaten it with a one-hit KO are often, like, Steel-type Pokemon, but that's where the Talonflame coverage and being able to burn things is really valuable. And so if you're able to burn those physical steel attackers, then Sylveon can last for a little bit longer. And just even getting 1 or 2 Hyper Voices can be game-changing if your opponent's team doesn't have any immunities or resistances to it. And that's kind of what felt like happened here. But yeah, this is a really fun team that, once again, does not utilize any Paradox Pokemon or any Legendary Pokemon. And Meowscarada was really, really pivotal to a lot of the games that we played in today. So hopefully you can see the viability of this starter, and I definitely will be trying out the other starters at some point. Glad we could also feature Annihilate, especially in that game where we just ate up the Snarl and completely dominated. So thank you so much as always for watching. My name is Aaron CybertronZeng. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.